The day I caught my fiancée, cheating 2 days before our wedding. For reference, I'm now 31, male, but this happened in 2014 when I was 26 and my ex-fiancée was 25. F it, let's call her Barb. We met in college and dated for 3 years prior to our engagement, with a wedding date booked by the fourth year. Neither of our parents are well off financially, and she was attending grad school, so the financial responsibility fell on me, which totaled $20,000 that was paid in full 4 days prior to the wedding. Leading up to that nightmare of an evening, we had our typical mid-20s relationship issues with bouts of poor communication, excessive drinking on weekends, and an occasional fight over trivial bullcrap. Aside from that, we had a great relationship and spent a ton of time together figuring out post-college life and planning for our future. As I said above, the wedding and reception venue cashed my check 4 days before the wedding, and the contract stated this was non-refundable. Over 120 guests were confirmed. A couple dozen from out of state, tuxes and bridesmaid dresses were fitted and paid, and everything was falling into place. Now let's get to the inevitable crap storm of events that you're all interested in before I keep rambling. The night in question was a Friday evening in our new apartment that we'd moved into a few weeks prior, and we decided to have about a dozen friends over to pre-game and head out to the bars in town. Included in this group of friends was my buddy whom I've known since kindergarten. We'll call him Ricky. Barb and I had spent a lot of time with Ricky over the last 3 years, and he was definitely one of her favorite one of my pals, which is generally awesome when your significant other gets along with people in your social circle. The night started at a local hookah lounge that was BYOB. So by the time we left there, a 1/5 of Jameson and 30 rack of Yuengling were gone, and everyone was buzzed. The next 3 hours were spent between 2 to 3 bars that resulted in the entire group devolving into a drunken, belligerent mess. Once the bars closed, most people went home with the exception of myself, Barb, Ricky, and another couple who came back to our apartment for a nightcap. Once back at our place, the couple only lasted another 20 minutes before calling it and making their way home, so I was left with Barb and freaking Ricky. Earlier in the night at the hookah bar, I noticed Barb checking her phone more than usual, and simultaneously Ricky checking his phone after she would lock the screen. I almost put 2 and 2 together, but why would I worry about them planning anything shady 2 days before I was supposed to marry this girl? Back at my house, I was fairly sober and noticed all the booze was gone, so I was contemplating picking up a couple of 6-packs from a local spot that stays open until 3 a.m. Barb and Ricky were definitely on the liquor and tanked, but there was no reason to suspect anything sketchy would occur if I ran out for 20 minutes. Once in my car and preparing to exit my apartment complex, I got a sinking feeling in my gut that something wasn't right, and it completely freaked me out. So I called my best bud, and he agreed to be picked up and join me on the beer run and accompany me back to the apartment. After grabbing some Bud Heavies and returning home, we walked up to the sliding glass door that led to my living room that had a sectional to the immediate right. We opened the door, took 2 steps inside the apartment, and my ex-fiancée was completely topless and mounted on Mr. Ricky, freaking tonsil deep down each other's throats. The amazing part of the situation was neither of them appeared to notice that my buddy and I were 10 feet away watching their sloppy, drunken escapades. After 7-10 seconds of attempting to comprehend the current situation, I lost it, dropped the booze, threw her backward off Ricky completely topless, and landed 2 hard right hooks to Ricky's eye and cheek while he was still laying on his back with the most terrified look on his face. To put things in perspective, I am 6 feet 220 pounds and have played hockey my entire life. He is 5 feet 6, 140 pounds, and a runner. Immediately following the assault with my fist, Ricky started snoring, didn't know this was a thing, and was asleep for at least 5 minutes while I was losing my mind over the situation. Without thinking, I called her parents about 10 times until they woke up and demanded they come to pick up their cheating daughter immediately. Their house was only 5 minutes down the road, so they walked in shortly thereafter while I was laying into Barb about her unforgivable, disgusting decision. Her parents frantically walked into me screaming at Barb, Ricky butt cheeks out on the couch, and my buddy mediating the situation. The first thing I told everyone was the wedding was freaking off. I demanded the ring back and said I'd rather lose 20K than spend the rest of my life with a cheating biznatch. Her parents spent the next 20 minutes attempting to talk me out of it and occasionally defending Barb's actions, saying things like, "Why can't you forgive her?" or "Isn't it too late to cancel the wedding?" Meanwhile, Ricky woke up and the right side of his face had swollen to the size of a grapefruit and his left eye was completely shut. Kicking him out of the apartment was tough because he was too drunk to drive, so I called his brother that was 20 minutes away and spent that time laying into Barb, Ricky, and her parents. Surprisingly, I was able to stay level-headed enough to express my thoughts in such an extreme state of rage. The few times I've been this upset in the past, my brain felt like it was scrambled, and I had a hard time condensing and forming my thoughts into logical statements. Not this time. By the time Ricky's brother picked him up and Barb's parents shuttled her home, I had systematically picked apart any objection, opinion, or plea for reconsideration expressed by everyone in the room. It felt really freaking great. I'm not going to pretend the following months were easy and everything worked out in my favor. 2 months later, the pharma company I worked at decided to lay off my entire division. I had racked up thousands in credit card debt to pay for the wedding. Unemployment haunted me for 5 months, and I was diagnosed with major depression. Life was messed up for a few years, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but now that I'm 31, things have settled down, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you for letting me get this off my chest. To sum everything up, I walked in on my ex-fiancée cheating on me with my good friend 2 days before our wedding, and it freaking sucked.
Wow, let's check out the comments. I can't believe the parents tried to defend her. I think that's ridiculous. I hope you found someone better than her. Yeah, I know a lot of people I see in the comments say all the time, "Oh, I hope you found someone better," or "You're going to find somebody better." It's not always about that. The best thing to do is to focus on yourself. Don't go out looking to replace someone and needing someone to fill her spots, to get over her. No, focus on yourself. Here's OP though. Yeah, my buddy that walked in on them with me actually started to get quite defensive when he heard both parents trying to talk me out of it. He jumped in without hesitation and defended me. So that was pretty deep. I found someone about a year later whom I dated for the next 4 years, but she wound up being an emotionally, verbally abusive workaholic who was severely disliked by my friends and family. I bailed out on them. I bailed out on that relationship last June and haven't had any desire to re-enter the dating game. The last 10 months, wasting 8 years with 2 women, is an exhausting experience. Happily single, I shall remain. Now, what did I say? What did I say? Look what happened. I did not see his response down there. I see that there's a response here, but I did not read it. I promise you, jumping out of a relationship, going to look for another one is not a smart idea. It's going to fail. Take time to be with yourself. I promise you will pick more wisely and you will be more cautious. Someone said, I'm glad you beat his butt. They are terrible human beings. Absolutely. Guys, let's check out another story.
Am I the a-hole for ghosting my girlfriend's daughter after my girlfriend cheated on me? I, 26 male, was in a relationship with my girlfriend, 26 female, for 6 years. I was engaged to her, and our marriage was scheduled in a few months' time. My girlfriend had a daughter at a really young age. Her ex left the state immediately after he heard she got pregnant. When I started dating my girlfriend, her daughter was 2. Over the past 6 years, I have pretty much considered her my own daughter and treated her as such. I had plans to legally become her stepfather after marriage. I loved my daughter so much. However, a couple of months ago, my girlfriend confessed she had been having an affair after I saw her texts from her coworker. The texts were so outrageous that she really couldn't lie about the affair. She said she had been having an affair for a few months. I obviously canceled the engagement and the wedding and moved out a week later. My girlfriend's daughter was a bit confused, and it hurt me, but I really did not want to be around my girlfriend anymore. I have now completely cut off contact with both my girlfriend and her daughter. My girlfriend does still text me frequently and is asking me to reconsider at least maintaining a relationship with her daughter temporarily, because her daughter has constantly been asking where is dad and even been crying a lot. This does hurt me a lot, and I really wanted to maintain a relationship with my girlfriend's daughter. But the issue is that if I do go over to their house, I will have to see my girlfriend's face, and I just can't stand to see her face anymore. I am trying to leave it all behind and already started going on new dates. Update. Ada for ghosting my girlfriend's daughter after my girlfriend cheated on me. The guilt of not giving my ex's daughter closure was eating me up, and the comments agreed that she would probably get trauma issues in the future if she didn't get closure. So even though I didn't want to communicate with my ex ever again, I did it one final time to give her daughter closure. I texted my ex this morning and asked her if she could drop her daughter off at a neutral location in the evening so I could spend a few hours with her and give her proper closure. My ex agreed, and that evening she dropped her daughter off to me. Her daughter was really happy and emotional when she saw me, and we spent the next few hours doing a bunch of fun stuff. After a few hours, as her mom was on her way to pick her up, I told her that this would be the last time she would ever see me, and it was not her fault at all. She broke down in tears and kept asking why and begged me to never leave. I lied and told her I had to move to a different country and would never come back. I told her if she wanted to make me happy, she had to be good to her mom. I gave her a stuffed dog toy and also a letter. She was really emotional and cried a lot at the end, especially when her mom came to finally pick her up. I said my goodbyes and told her I would always remember her, and that is probably my final update. Today was really heart-wrenching, especially seeing my ex's daughter crying like that, but I hope this gives her the closure she needs and that she understands it was not her fault. As for me, I will carry on with my life as usual, although right now I'm feeling extremely hurt and devastated. I have a nice job offer in another state which I will probably accept. A change in scenery will also probably be good for me and my mental health. Am I the a-hole?
All right, let's check out these. My heart is broken for her. I was 36 when I lost my papa, and I'm 40 now and still lost without him. I'm not a praying type person, but I will do that for her. This is a heartache that won't ever go away. That poor girl, someone said. My stepdad is still my stepdad. He was the only one I had from second grade until the 10th, when my mom cheated and left a year before she died. My mom passed away 20 years ago, and my bio dad, whom I was no contact with, offed himself 17 years ago. My children call my dad Grandpa. Cheaters are the worst. Everyone else is collateral damage. Yeah. I'm so sorry for you and your daughter. It's a huge responsibility to take a continuing to fulfill the role of her father when you have no real rights or tied to her thanks to the mom. My mom had a boyfriend that had me calling him Daddy number 2 when I was 6. They broke up. Not sure why. I was 6. I, I wonder if she cheated on Daddy number 2. I doubt there was any cheating, but well, for me, all I knew was this man was leaving. But he wrote me letters for years after that. I wrote him back for a while, and eventually things just sort of petered out. My mom and him were only together for about a year, but those letters I know made his disappearance feel better, and it's just sort of naturally ended. Like, I honestly have no idea if that man is even alive anymore, and I think of him fondly. If your ex is okay with it, that is something I would suggest. After a year, she had you calling this man Daddy number 2. Well, I tell you, some women out here, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'm gonna catch you guys at the next one.